together. So I have a lot of love and affection for Web3 because it had been very much like a family experience thanks to my younger brother.
That's so sweet. My sister doesn't really give too nice smelly things about crypto or NFTs, and it's quite sad, but it's nice to hear that there's siblings out there who are, willing to just lend an ear, some excitement, and maybe even get rich at the same time. I hope your brother is living off of Pepe right now. Is he winning?
I meant to ask him, like, did you get in on Pepe? I'm not sure. I got in just a little bit, I think, last week. So fun to just be part of that ride in general. If he doesn't have any, I'll be sure to gift him some. Yeah, he's paid it forward to me like so many times, so I want to do it back.
Yeah, definitely sounds like he deserves some wins. You guys have a beautiful relationship. And you mentioned that you have two daughters who you do a lot of creative things with. Is it true that you are into watercolor at the moment, kind of because of them? And are you using the tools that you bought for them?
That's right. Yes. So I never considered myself an artist. I just have been like artsy and crafty and more of like a maker. And so as a parent, you try to entertain your kids and whatever you can do. And so there's the spirit of like, if you want it, you make it. And I tell my kids that all the time versus buying it. If you want it, we make it. It could be baking, could be clothes. I know how to sew as well. And with art, and crafts, I think it's just being able to use a coffee filter and like, I don't know, vegetable juice and just, create butterflies out of them. Like there's just so much that you can do in a scrappy way. So I love this mentality of being like resourceful about what you have and then making art out of it. And it could be temporary art. I think with kids, sometimes it's like you make it and it's just like tossed aside. Sometimes it lives on the fridge for a little bit longer, but it's such a big part of what we do today. But my eldest, who's 14, I've always encouraged her with her artistic abilities and show her the way a little bit. But I am not an artist by practice, totally self-taught. I am doing watercolor paintings now for NFT collections, but that's very recent. It was only as of August of last year that I actually minted my first NFT watercolor. I'm part of the B card community, and within that amazing community of now really good friends, we had decided to do an on-cyber art shop. And we said, hey, let's just everybody have a frame, hang up your art. We'll price it for cheap at 0.1 ETH, and then we'll see how it goes. And so much like support and just wonderful like attention and encouragement. My paintings actually did pretty well, like within the community. So much love. I would paint as I mint as I paint, and by between August and I think December, I ended up minting 28. I think I had sold or gifted 24 at that time. So just a wonderful like trajectory and momentum around my own art, in like, I guess, claiming that I'm an artist happened during that journey. So again, I'm so grateful for the chance to do so. I've mentioned in a few other spaces that Web3 has a wonderful way of magnifying your strengths, and things that you might have thought and dabbled in before can all of a sudden become what you're known for. So that happened for me in this particular case with watercolors. But I actually bought so many art supplies from my eldest that I am now using her art supplies, which is really mine. But just funny to think that I bought her like the best of the best supplies for her to dabble as like a middle schooler and now a teenager. But now I'm kind of claiming and taking those over as mine. But they paint with me. My youngest is a toddler, and so I paint fruit. I do outlines of fruit, and then she colors it in, and we do that almost like every day as part of dinner time. So yeah, art is just part of my life now. They actually view me as an artist, which was a really like cheerful moment when that actually happened, when they really believe and see mom as an artist. So yeah, so happy to have kind of that notch in my belt, or that star in my lapel, if you will.
That's so sweet. What is it about watercolor that draws you in so much?
Yes. I actually had taken one class around painting, and it was actually oil painting, and I loved it. I love just the smell and the texture, and when it sets, it's has a little bit of a 3D effect. But having kids in a small, modest house, I don't have space for a studio, so I can't pursue oil painting. So I had kind of just parked that idea for a long time. But with watercolors, it's just such a easy medium to work with. The dry time is so much shorter, and so I just gravitated towards that. And yeah, looking back, I actually had been just dabbling in painting, and with watercolors, I feel like it's such a free form, very much abstract. I can't draw to save my life, but I have a good use of color. And like I just know like when I dabble in the palette and to drop it onto a page, like it's a very like I would say like liberating and confident moment to know like the colors I choose are for a particular intent and purpose and how they blend. I literally love watching paint dry with my paintings and with watercolors, but because with water and its movement, its life, right? I think just having that effect of it, like I might be placing my watercolor paints in a certain way, but the way it dries and sets up is always a surprise to me. So that's part of the fulfilling process or of painting with watercolor is that I never really know how it's going to turn out. And I can layer up and up as much as I want, or keep it super thin, just with a few layers only to let the original setting if you will, like shine through. So there's paintings that I go back and I paint over them on top because I didn't like it. And there's some paintings that I thought I was midway through and I thought, nope, it dried up nicely. That's final, final. I'm happy with it. So it's such a wonderful medium to experiment with. And I encourage everybody. My first few paintings, I actually used the Crayola, like super cheap $3 set to get warmed up again. And those are some of my most favorite pieces, actually. So you don't really need the most expensive of supplies to be able to create art, especially with watercolors.
Yep, I agree with that. I am a big fan of watercolor as well because it's so unpredictable. It's so fun. Anyone can do it. Just give it a try. But Rose, you said you have like a good sense of color. What do you think about the render that Mars made for you?
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Maz, for the render. It just, I think, encapsulate just how I love to be enveloped and surrounded by color. Um, I paint with a lot of different colors in my palette, and I love just the render. That's me. That's me just looking ahead, trying to figure out what can I paint next. So mad shout out and thank you and appreciation for the render.
And if you haven't seen the render yet, we have it pinned up top. It's the first pin, so I guess it would be far right. Check it out, because that's just kind of how I imagine Rose from now on with all of her watercolors. And then if you're curious what digital watercolors can look like, and to prove that she is a queen of culture, she has Pepe'd some watercolors. I pinned that one up as top as well because I figure it's currently very relevant.
Oh yes, thanks for the shout for the Garden of Pepe. This I did just yesterday. Is it yesterday? Time is funny, right? But a few friends, B card artists, we were kind of creating Pepe art. ETH is so expensive, so we're minting on Polygon and just being able to share art and kind of commemorate the moment around all this great energy and momentum around Pepe is fun. So yeah, I did a quick piece, and it was a challenge for me because Pepe is not so cute. I try to paint pretty, so I squeezed him in towards the end. If you want to watch the video, but it's actually a free claim of sorts. You just have to drop your ENS if you would like one, and I'll transfer it to you in the spirit of again culture, just to be able to enjoy the moment together and yeah, just to share my art.
Rose is right. Pepe is not cute. He's handsome. Okay, I have a big crush on Pepe, but he's kind of broken my heart because he didn't give me any alpha. I'm pissed off. I wanted to talk about Genesis. Ooh, Genesis. So is this where you and Jack have history, or did you meet through clones? How did this meetup happen?
Yes, this was through the Genesis Art Project, and Jackie can correct me, but we were deep into the seed reveal process for the Genesis Art Project. And if I may just take a moment, so the Genesis Art Project is a collection of procedural generative art by an artist named MGXS. And he had some artifact ties. That's how I kind of came about to know of him. But I actually get to work with him. I'll speak about that in a second. But this was an amazing project where the seed reveal process was really, you had 10 choices, up to 10 choices. This, as far as seed reveal, you would see one Genesis and you get to decide, are you going to mint it or are you going to skip and move on? If you skip, you just can't go back. And so it was just a phenomenal community bonding moment while we're watching everybody mint, advising them, shouting at them to mint or skip. Like, we were in Discord for hours, 24 hours a day, just like all the time during this mint reveal was it month or two. And Jack, I remember you were actually gifted a Mad Time seed by the artist. And so MGXS would pop in and would just say, I forget, Mad Time. And we would all know to just drop our wallets in the Discord, and he would pick somebody to airdrop a seed to. Again, a lot of love for his art, wanting to share his love of art. And Jack actually got one. And is it a golden dragon, Jack, that you got? It was a phenomenal Genesis.
Yeah, I still have it, Rose, and that's one of my all-time favorite Web3 moments. And earlier when I was like, I don't think people understand how Web3 RoseJade actually is, it's like, y'all, she spent hours, serious blocks of time in the Genesis Discord. And if you spent any time at all in the Genesis VCs, you understand the magic of the seed reveal and the pure excitement and the energy of a chat sitting there telling you, okay, that's a pure X, or that's a Y subspecies C. And it's like this community, the MGXS Genesis community, learned every single look of a trait. And those are not traits like green hoodie. That's like a species that has a subspecies that are all variables and numeric values. Like, this community lived and breathed Genesis art, and it still does. So when Rose, I will probably transition to how you are doing marketing with MGXS now on behalf of the Genesis project, but this project is in Rose's bones, fam. Like, this is in her Web3 DNA. She screen recorded my seed reveal, actually, because I didn't understand how big of a moment that actually was. It was a Mad Time seed dropped by MGXS in VC, and then everyone was sitting there revealing it with me. And thanks to Rose, I have that moment cemented forever on YouTube. So, like, all of the props, and like, that's how Rose and I met. She just DMs me, yo, here's a YouTube of your seed reveal. I was like, yo, what? Like, just all of the vibes. So, like, thank you, Rose, for having the vision and the clarity way back then to, record moments in time for community members in the spaces that you're present.
And that was so special too. I think I embarrassingly am like squealing on that YouTube video. So please turn volume down if you happen to watch it. Yeah, Genesis is in my bones. And as part of like the community during that process, we had moments of quiet. There was, for the project, but there's a few of us that just kind of hung in there just to make sure, we wanted to appreciate the art. And it's one of those special projects where we can appreciate the art and like zoom in, zoom out like crazy people and want to protect our artist. And I had the chance to speak in a space where I think I made the pitch to MGXS to say, you need marketing because it's all about storytelling, and we want to make sure that your art can be seen and heard by more people. And then he said, let's do it. And I was like, oh, okay. Got approached in, I think it was really August, but it was made final in October, where he had extended an invitation for myself to join as marketing manager. And then Big Time, who was also another OG community member, to be community manager. So we were so excited because, we love the project. And as you all know, some projects, when you get down to the quiet period, especially as the bear creeps up, there's a lot of people that will just abandon and FUD. But I believe in MGXS so much and the Genesis project and what we can build forward. So I'm excited to take part in that project. And I always tell people I'm I'm not a marketer, I'm a marketing strategist. And so I'm still growing and learning within this space, but I am prioritizing my time and attention to the Genesis project because I'm learning so much. MGXS as an artist is such a wonderful human being who sets the bar so high. And I'm just really thankful to be able to get to work with him on a day in, day out basis. And we have some great things planned for the next couple of months. Um, he's showcasing at NFC Lisbon. So, in case anybody that's there, please come check out our Genesis booth. It's going to be an experience that you won't forget. And there'll be more marketing around that. But I think, it's the fairy tale of Web3 where you're in a project. OG, diehard. I tell people all the time for Genesis, I've never traded, never listed, never sold. And I still acquire where I can, the ones that I love. But the fairy tale is like you hope to be part of the project team one day, at least in some projects, right? And so for me, I just feel so grateful and lucky. I'm in it by choice. I'm committing time. I do my Web3 like night job around Genesis because I love it. I believe in the vision. I believe that with a little bit of my help and support, like his vision will be realized. But it's art. And as a painter, someone that does watercolor, I think my eye for curation is also getting honed because I get to be exposed to how he's creating art and his method and methodology, and then therefore madness around his own art. Like all of that for me, I'm taking notes, I'm observing. So there's so many levels of gratitude, I would say, in terms of my work with the Genesis Art Project.
That's amazing. You made this happen by just speaking out and offering your I don't want to say services, but your knowledge and your talents. How do you think this has changed your experience as a holder? Do you still feel as passionate? Has it elevated it, or has it changed it in obviously not in a negative way, but
Yeah. No, I think as a holder, like I try to I remember as a holder before when there was no marketing, like I would be so annoyed as to like why is it so quiet? And now that I'm on the inside and also still a holder, I'm like, oh, I know why. It's just it takes so much time to build in Web3, and especially how people can be so unforgiving of what you say and what you say you're going to do for what timeline that we are just a more conservative project. We don't want to create hype and not be able to deliver. So some of that is like I'm trying to market more, but I'm actually trying to architect with the team like more what are the moments that we're marketing towards. Like me tweeting out old art can be done. I should do more of it. Yes, but I feel like for people to get energized around the project, I want to make sure we can actually articulate an upcoming moment. And we have one for June 7th, NFC Lisbon. There's going to be some marquee moments and activities around that we're beating the drum on. But as a holder, I'm definitely much more bullish because I'm inside. But I think in the end, I bought the art. I got the art. I still get to appreciate the art. Everything that happens after is just yet another decision. But I don't have any regrets for buying during the peak and holding on to the art and not selling. I mean, it's mine. It's fully mine. And I'm so grateful to have the art and still be part of the community.
I think that's really special, Rose, is that the art is what brought you into Web3, I think. It's the art of the MGXS project. It's the art of Genesis. It's the beauty and the madness of it all. And it's like I can tell that like you've rode so hard for that project since that time we first met in VC, and I've respected that. And again, that's why I'm so happy to be able to be on this stage with you and just talk through your journey, because like you are a special member of this Web3 ecosystem, and I'm so glad that the Artifact Creators account is putting you on the pedestal, Rose, because you've earned it, and this is amazing.
Thank you. I think it's such a big part. So thank you for that call out too. Just Genesis art kept me in Web3. Like it attracted me um, in my first project where I'm like, I'm actually OG. I think when the community actually told me I was like, that's so cool, to be in, but to be recognized and to be actually a part of the community. That was my first taste. And I think once you get your first taste of feeling like you are seen and heard, and your opinions on art and the project are appreciated, like you stay, right? Good times or bad times, you just stay.
And Rose, I was kind of curious, just leading in or kind of going back to that marketing aspect. What do you feel like Web3 can learn from Web2 strategies and vice versa?
Oh yeah, I love this topic. I think I've spoken in conspiracy spaces a few times on it. So I do in real life. I do marketing strategy and operations in high tech, and so I've worked with some wonderful marketers that have this. I would say like this discipline of planning backwards. So I mentioned about like what's the moment, so of the launch, right? There's a launch, amazing. Who are we targeting? What's our messaging? And then you work backwards from a timeline perspective. So like even like a space launch or a rocket launch, right? They talk about T minus and you count backwards to the launch date. So T minus 1 day versus 2 days versus 2 weeks versus 2 months. And then figuring out all these different threads of how you can go about engaging with the right audiences. So there's a lot of like crafting that I would say in Web 2 that we do for marketing before you see anything. I know in Web 3 it's different, and I'm still learning on how to best market in this space. But there's so much around. Oh, I guess I am a planner. I love planning. So much about the planning that becomes very purpose built that I think from Web 2 we can translate into Web 3. So as an example, we have for like the artifact ecosystem, we have current holders. We have a lot of folks that had maybe exited, and we also have folks that would be like net new. They've been interested, maybe they're saving up to enter in a variety of ways. And I think when we message and communicate, and when I say we, as if I'm part of Artifact, if Artifact were to message, I think in terms of planning around that, how do you address all three different audiences? And make sure that it's clear across those three different audiences, because you have your new, your existing that you would love to like cross sell, upsell for expand, and then you have those that you might have lost that you might want to bring back, right? And so there's clarity of comms and messaging, but when you market, you have to define your audience first. You line up what do you think is most best in terms of like the right product or solution to pitch that to them. So yeah, I'm a visual learner, so I'm always like flow charting and diagramming and doing almost like creating that spider web that you want to trap people in. Because once you can architect that, like you have movement, you'll have motion, and then you'll have like a good way of like feeding the beast, if you will, in terms of the marketing machine. Like you need new people to come in, and you need the throughput of people to come out into various stages so that they can go into the next funnel, right? So like in my journey with Artifact, I had actually gotten, I think I got Monolith 1 and then Space Pods and then my clone. And so all of those are almost like different funnels that should feed into each other. So I like to view that from a Web 2 perspective. Like, how do we approach that for Artifact and clones? Even as community members, we've been talking about onboarding quite a bit. There's definitely strategies around onboarding that is at its very core, it's marketing, right? How do you take somebody along the journey? And how do you're not marketing to sell per se. I think you're marketing for awareness, and awareness is actually the first stage of the customer lifecycle journey. So as community members, we have a huge part that we can play around the awareness stage of that journey.
Ooh, this is fascinating stuff. I would love to pick your brain, maybe privately,
Yeah.
RoseJade. I also wanted to know, how did Sinomine come about? Because I know your connection with Jack goes even further, and it was the birth of this beautiful, beautiful partnership with Sinomine. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, for sure. So in one of the conspiracy spaces, I think I was kind of deep into watercolors at that time and into on cyber curation, and I was trying to learn Blender too. And then there was a moment in Conspiracy that Jack hosts that I think I just said out loud, like, oh, I'm a watercolor painter. I would love to be able to leverage my watercolor paintings as textiles for clothes. So I guess as UV maps, right, for 3D renders. And Aunt Ben, who's in the audience, happened to hear me, and he hit me up and we had a chat. And I think within the first 2 minutes of our conversation, we hit it off. And so he introduced me to just what his vision was for Sinomine. And he literally says, like, Rose, if you're willing to share your paintings, we're going to leverage them. And, flabbergasted that that could happen so easily and quickly in this wonderful space. But when the stars align, you go for it, right? So joined the team, started painting just exclusively for Sinomine for the project, for the design team to consider it. And literally, like, I think squealed and probably like teared up when Aunt Ben had showed me a render of how he applied one of my paintings to a pair of pants. So I don't think people understand. You need watercolor pants, folks. Get ready. But I think just again a testament to the power of Web3 of what we think we can create. I mean, the possibilities are limitless, and so now being part of Sinomine and lending my skill sets to the project team to help with, I don't know, project management, coordination, all of it. And that's, I think, typically me. Once I'm in a community and you got me, I'm part of a project and you got me, like, you get all of me. Like, I would love to, like, try to fill in all the gaps as needed, all of the ways that I can help. I want to be helpful, and just love the partnership and teamwork that we have with the Sinomine team. Like, we're building, we're heads down building. I can't wait to share and showcase more and give people sneak peeks to what we're building. But I see Vade Play and Contessa. I'm going to see who else. Igori is part of our team now. So there's a lot of wonderful work coming ahead as part of Sinomine. So we are a 3D wearables collection, really brand. We're setting our sights big. We are going to be a marquee brand within the space, aiming to help service and meet the needs of the CloneX community, but also beyond, frankly, right? I think we want to set our sights to make sure that we're able to create in a variety of ways.
I'm so excited for Sinomine to start releasing a little bit more content. That t-shirt with, I'm going to describe it headishly now, but the one that's like, it's like dripping down, you know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That one.
Yep.
I dream about sometimes. And I don't know if is there any way we could get a hold of a physical one now?
Ooh. Not at the moment. Actually, I'm scrolling through. We have a sneak peek of a Sinomine item. I got to figure out how to multitask. But Aunt Ben, I see you. Thank you for the share. I'll include it in a second. But yeah, we have so much planned. We have an upcoming, we have a Futures Factory collab with the Sinomine team as well. If you've seen some posts from our handle, just another wonderful way to connect with another community and project. And they've been so welcoming, and between Aunt Ben, Vade, and Contessa, some wonderful renders for their Pioneers collection, which is the Avatar, as well as for their future like clothing as well.
Ooh, exciting. I also wanted to invite you guys up on stage if you have any questions or you just want to give some love to RoseJade. The floor is open. But before that, RoseJade, I wanted to ask you, as a woman in Web3, how has it been going for you? I know you spoke quite highly of Aunt Ben and what kind of a person he is. Can you go a little bit more into detail about that experience?
Yes, I was going to say that, when I spoke with Aunt Ben off the bat, we just hit it off. I think we're both doers. I think his vision was phenomenal and I wanted in. And as we are designing our season 1 collection, one of the things that Aunt Ben had been doing was he was designing for female clones. And that was an area for me from the Artifact season 1. I think just having a collection that spoke to me as a woman in Web3. I mean, I love the collection as is, but I think in terms of like not having real attire for the female CloneX, I feel like was a potential area. Hopefully they'll address it. But Aunt Ben, knowing that he was already designing for the female clone first for me was just a huge testament to how he's ultra supportive of, I think, women in this space. He has some strong, wonderful women that I get to work with, his sisters, as part of Sinomine. But I feel like it's so needed in terms of just the spirit of looking abroad and making sure that we can address the market at large, and that's inclusive of women. Yeah, I think as a woman in Web3, I would say maybe like a year ago was super intimidating and really daunting to just join in. I think the just you just didn't felt like that you fit in. But that's not different from like my real world. I'm a little bit older, so when I went to uni, like my the makeup of college was very skewed still towards men. Like I think it's more balanced now, more like 50-50. But when I had gone to a particular college, it felt more like 70% men, 30% women, especially in my department of science. And so just knowing how to navigate that, how to kind of flex your strengths in this particular way, I think feels very normal to me. But I just hope that it's getting better and better over time. And it's with wonderful leaders and creators like Aunt Ben and other folks in the CloneX community.
And Rose, just kind of building on that, like I think that, designing around the female clone first and kind of up front is definitely a way to force a nominee to stand out, to make that statement, to say, hey, we have male and female and multi gender, unisex clothing. Like you have the whole line, which I think is really special. I guess what additional ways do you feel that brands can really set themselves apart from others, maybe in the same sandbox that they play in?
One thing that we do in Web 2, and I think it's harder when your company is big, but for smaller companies, they're very savvy about having like a core, like focus group. And so the makeup of that focus group, having it to be diverse, inclusive of, I would say, women, but I think all different types of demographics and backgrounds as well is super smart. Because I think, again, we all have like limited budgets, right? And so to be able to attract new people to spend with your particular project, you have to make that compelling case. And I think having a way to like litmus test and expose to a focus group to get feedback, I think is just the quickest way. Because if you don't do that, guess what? You're going to have the community at large giving that to you after you launch. So finding that in between step is, I feel like, a very pragmatic, take a page out of the playbook of Web 2, because a lot of great companies that are very consumer focused and consumer responsive have certain focus groups and tight knit communities that they feel that they can trust and interest, right, with sharing things that are work in progress and plans for feedback. So again, it's timing, of course, in terms of when we think about like product management as to when maybe people would do that, signing NDAs and making sure that it's, a closed box. But with artifact creators, I feel like it's a wonderful population of people that I would feel like Artifact as a special project and brand could tap into more so. But I think at large for Web3, using that as especially as we're building in the bear, makes most sense, right? It's quieter. You have a little bit more time. People aren't going to jump on you and necessarily expect you to deliver, but I think that interaction and engagement within the community to give them that chance to participate is huge. I feel like we talk about God tier a lot. I think really we should be assessing holder tier. There should just be like a good balance of activities where holders can engage with project teams in a variety of ways. And I think getting like product feedback or roadmap suggestions in a constructive, maybe organized way is a good cheat, I would think, that people can employ.
It's kind of amazing, Rose, if you think about it, because when you ask an ecosystem what they're looking for, and then you give them what they're looking for to the best of your ability, it's almost like you already know they're going to love what you're putting out. So then you just have to keep putting that stuff out to really align that community with the overall plan and blend the two into something truly unique and special. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, just the chance, just a chance to see, to give feedback, and it could be scrapped. But I think again, there's so much benefits that goes both ways that could be taken advantage of for sure. All right, I have a tweet, a work in progress sneak peek that Aunt Ben was kind enough to share, but just things that we have in mind. Hopefully, it's okay, Aunt Ben, that I selected this one. Let me post it here.
Are you pinning it to the top?
Yeah, it should have popped up, I think, hopefully, in a second.
We're all eagerly waiting for this tweet to come.
Yeah, sorry.
Rose.
But this.
Yeah, Karen.
Yeah, good. I was just gonna say this is just part of just as a maybe a sneak peek to how Cinnamony works inside. Is literally I sketch, I send ideas, and then Aunt Ben and Contessa on our team, they go into design mode, and it's like almost like this dream, if you will, in terms of like all these kind of sketches that I can do, and I just float it over, and then they make these renders and they test it out, and it's like wow, just to see it on a clone, honestly, is so cool as a project teammate, but also just I think part of the CloneX community to see that all of our us creators are just creating so much, and everybody who's pushing the envelope to try something next and new. It's such wonderful fuel for our communities. I'm trying my best to stay on top of that, to throw hearts and likes and comments, because I think as a creator, I know how much that means. Like every little bit helps energize me. So excited to see all of the work that creators are putting forward and just how they're going to push the envelope even more.
With that energy in mind, everyone please tap on the pinned tweet at the top, like, retweet, comment, throw the energy to Rose and the whole team for the energy that they're throwing our way. Give it right back times a hundo. Why not? Let's do a hundo.
Thank you. Thank you. The space is wonderful. I think I I'll confess. I had applied to be an artifact creator around when I was just doing watercolors. I don't think I had touched base with Aunt Ben yet about Cinnamony. Again, because the application says that they would want to take all types of creators, not just 3D. I just applied. I thought that's so cool. I'm going to do it. And when I got it, it just felt like such a validating moment, because again, I'm a traditional artist in terms of like I'm old school. I just do watercolors. I take pictures of my watercolors and then I mint them as NFTs, but I don't do things in Blender. I don't do like the animations yet. But really so proud again just to be able to have the spotlight on me for a minute, because I hope I can encourage other folks that maybe haven't applied to be a creator to do so. Like if Rose, old school watercolor painter, can do it, they will accept you and take you if you really do have a passion for it. So just wanted to mention that and plug the Artifact Creator application that remains open. I don't think they really close it. They just kind of cycle through in batches, if I understand that correctly.
That's correct. They are open, and it's more about giving people the opportunity to express themselves. If they're here and they're showing up and they're vibing, then we want to see how we can support and elevate their talents. So good for you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of everybody else who's applied, because you never know. You start getting a little bit more involved. You're like, oh, I have this title now, and then okay, let me see what everybody else is doing. And then little bits and bobs that you see in other people's work, they just spark your imagination. And that's what you need to do. You just need to surround yourself with the right people and the right energy, and magic will happen for you. Like RoseJade, you now work with MTXS, you work with Cinnamony, and who knows what's next for you. It's crazy. But talking about social media engagement, because we were like, please like and retweet, guys. What social media platform do you think has been most successful? I think we all know is Twitter, but why do you think the others aren't utilized as much as Twitter is?
For the space especially, I think it's that just attention economy. This is such like Web3 is almost like Twitter is Web3. Web3 is Twitter in many ways, which is kind of funny because it's a Web2 company. But the speed of which communication and it's such a reactionary mode that we're in. It's our anchor. I think we've tried to we dabble in Discord. We try websites. We try just other ways to stay connected. But really, Twitter is it. I think there isn't a perfect way to onboard people though via Twitter. I think once you're in and how to stay on top of it. There is such a learning curve though. But I think we talk about mass adoption all the time. It's super hard to follow for someone that might have stepped away from a particular project, for them to come back in and try to figure out what to do via Twitter is so hard. But I think in terms of like having that spotlight, that spark, if you will, the flare gun effect. I mean, Twitter is definitely the place, and there's such an economy around that and a method that people know. So I feel like it's such a natural way for projects to leverage it. But I'm hoping that there are other ways to make sure that we can onboard people more effectively by having a central spot. And I think a lot of projects like Artifact are building out their website. So it's the official, not just in Discord and not just maybe things that you see on the Twitter handle. That'll help greatly. But I think marketing, in terms of medium, with Twitter, with live streams, Prez, you're a speaker. Just the use of live stream to capture the attention and the engagement, I think is very special. Like CloneX LA did that in a couple of ways already, and we've seen like really special like marketing moments, but also community moments being leveraged with live streams, whether it's Twitter or YouTube. I think that's a special mix that it's a level of sophistication that you have to get to, but I'm looking forward to seeing how more projects use that.
Another person who is extremely good at utilizing the tools that we've been given is Prez, who's up on stage right now, who constantly puts these Twitter spaces into on Cyber for people to go and interactively enjoy, and I think that is the coolest thing ever. Hello, my friend, how you doing? And he's gone. What is going on? I think he's getting rugged. No. Prez?
Yes. So Twitter, you have to update your app, otherwise it doesn't really let you connect. So I DM'd Prez that. I don't know if his app's up to date or not. It might be, but now he's a speaker, so let's see.
I was gonna say Earth to Prez. Prez is gone. Okay, well, it's a shame. Maybe he'll update his app before the spaces are over. This space is open, guys. If anybody else wants to come up, please do. It would be nice to hear from you. But other than that, I actually wanted to talk about planning. Planning, RoseJade. Come on, give us some tips. I am absolutely awful at prioritizing my life. Do you have any tips for people like me?
Oh, is Prez back?
Sorry, I was getting rugged. I couldn't connect to the room for some reason. Just wanted to stop in very briefly and shout out RoseJade. Very pleasant and polite person to have within the community. So you bring the right vibes, and I think we've collaborated on at least one occasion. It was a pleasure working with you, RoseJade, real MVP of the community. That's really it. Much love to you guys.
Thank you. I so appreciate you, Prez. And my first interaction with Prez was helping do the boring security training that we did, in particular for the Artifact community. And Prez came in to help with the live stream. I was going to try to figure out myself. And then at the last 24 hours, realized I'm out of my depth. And he just stepped in. So felt so grateful to have that moment to actually work with Prez and have him rescue me and really help make that class a success. I appreciate you back, Prez. Thank you.
Prez should honestly be crowned as one of the most helpful clones out here. We also have Ant Ben on stage. Hello.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Yeah, I just wanted to come up and give Rose the flowers she deserves. She definitely keeps us grounded, um, in our project, and extremely helpful and always willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done, right? So just wanted to come up and say that we're extremely grateful. I know that my sisters feel the same way. We talk, about Rose all the time. She's just beyond even the project, just a great human being to be able to meet in on the internet, right? Which is it's an interesting thing. It's pretty new for me. I've always just been pretty introverted and kind of kept to myself. But Twitter's a different world, and meeting so many talented people through Artifact and the Web3 space, it's really good, for the soul when you meet somebody like Rose, who's just, you know, so generous with her time, and inherently it's just who she is. Like, she's just that person. So just wanted to say I'm grateful. We tell her all the time, but I wanted to make sure that people knew publicly, like, we love Rose, and we know that everybody else does too. So we're very lucky to have her as part of the team.
Thank you, Aunt Ben. Who would have thought, huh? Just one one DM away, and then now we're in cahoots to build together. Like, that's literally, it feels magical. And I actually went to DesignerCon in November just to meet Aunt Ben, because I think when you know there's synergy and you want to commit, like, you got to meet people in real life. And I took that brave moment, because I'm the shy one, the one that doesn't want to be doxxed per se, but I went there to meet Aunt Ben and had the luxury of meeting a few other CloneX fam. But yeah, we're gonna build and can't wait to share and showcase the vision that really Aunt Ben had originally, and that we're gonna carry to fruition over the next few months.
Those were some really, really nice words, Aunt Ben. Maybe I should DM you as well, so I can do a few things for you, and maybe you could speak highly of me on Spaces. Another person who's gracious with his words is Compound. Hello, sir.
Gracious. No, that's Dre. I stumble and I trip, but I do not pass up opportunities to give Rose Grill some flowers. Super stoked that this highlight is on her today. She has earned the name Rose Grill within the Bad Take community, and I've seen why. She becomes a staple in any project or community, any movement that she becomes a part of. She becomes a staple, and it's super cool to see. I don't know how she has 48 hours in a day somehow. Everybody else gets 24 hours a day. She'll help me co-host spaces on Bad Take while working on other work stuff, and then she'll be late night DJing hours, 1 a.m. in the Bad Take Discord, doing watercolor and painting, and just kind of listening to us all do DJing stuff. I think a good word for Rose is like flexible. She can do almost anything. She can create art, she can host spaces, she can run meetings. Like she's a planner, like she's super flexible. So I think she's a Grail. So that's why we call her Rose Grail. We appreciate you, Rose.
Thank you, Comp. Every time you say that, it makes me blush, and then it also makes me like so pumped. Like, I'm not gonna disappoint Compound. And I think why I think I want to be flexible is, I think as I get older, I'm in my mid 40s. As I get older, I'm really striving to be flexible. Like, I want to still learn. Like, this can't be it. And so I have a little bit of, I think, nervous energy and fear that I might get complacent. So I actually turn up the burner a little bit more, if you will, because I don't want to be in that spot. And Web3 gives us the opportunity to go learn Blender. We have tutorials, we have clone tools, we have other creators who will actually show us how to do things. We have Chat GPT now. So I try really hard because of that. And I think when I am recognized in those efforts, like, I'm deeply, deeply appreciative, because then that's the best feeling, right? When your work is seen, then you just want to do more work. And I had some wins last night, and I'm just like, oh, so proud to share with like our Bad Take fam when we were there. But I'm like, I literally figured out how to do like, I guess, like, to use Python code to do glitch onto my most recent watercolor painting. But it's like silly things like that where I'm like, I really want to learn it. It's like so hard for me to like maybe figure that out. It's taking sometimes me longer than I would think, and sometimes it's disappointing and frustrating. But when I'm actually able to like break through, such a great feeling. But I appreciate your acknowledgement, Compound. Thank you so much.
It's so important out here to keep an open mind. And I think you do a great job of it. You want to try video editing, you want to learn the meme coins, you want to create art for the meme coins. Like, it's always rough to get complacent. And I think that you are, yeah, flexible is a good word. Like, you are jumping on everything and learning anything you can. You strive to learn. And I respect that about you, and you teach me a lot, honestly.
I could segue into your question earlier about planning, because I think sometimes I am all over the place because I think I'm seemingly too flexible and too maybe eager to take it on. I am oftentimes like the first to try to volunteer because if I see the need, I want to be helpful, and then I have way too much on my plate. But I was thinking about like how do I actually do this? Because I have a lot of I used to have a lot of like mental load and then guilt that would carry over. So as a mom, working in high tech and all that too, and then wanting to do my own thing, like there's the to do list was just so heavy. But I found a trick that I wanted to share with the folks here today was just that I literally treat air quotes like midnight because comp just told everybody that I actually DJ, do DGen hours. But before I go to bed, I actually tell myself like I had a good today was the day. I had a good day and then tomorrow will be better and just give myself that chance to like reset and not carry over things that I didn't do to the next day, but try to think of my top 3 that I'm going to try to do tomorrow. And at least that way, maybe in that sliver of a moment before I go to bed, just have a little bit of control over my next day because there are so many demands on us in life that sometimes you feel like you have no control. My top 3 things usually are very, very simple, like, like buy shoes for the little kid, you know, do that flow chart that I promised my stakeholder that I would do, and then make sure I mint my next piece. It could be a variety of things, but I'm a checklist girl. So if I could at least identify 3 things that I was set out to do for that one particular day and check it off throughout, I know I can like go to sleep easy knowing that I accomplished what I wanted to do, um, and just be happy about it. But I think less guilt, the better. Less carryover from one day to the next. I think the better. I think mental health in this space, especially, is something that is super super needed in terms of finding the right balance. So wanted to at least impart my little trick that I do personally every night.
I don't buy it. I don't believe that it could be that easy. And you know what? I have a theory. My theory is Drac houses for a clonespiracy. RoseJade is actually a clone, a real life clone. There's no way that is just one person, and that's why she's not doxed. So if I'm right, RoseJade, don't worry about it. You don't have to confirm it, but we'll speak in private. Tell me who your dealer is.
I actually figured out how to do a voice clone of my own voice to use it for, avatars. So I might be deploying that across the board. No, I'm just kidding. It's kind of creepy to think that you can have AI represent you and just run amok without the kill switch. But no, I'm excited to do more. But actually, I would love to do more with more people versus just me on my own. So again, love the artifact creator ecosystem. The potential to collaborate is here. And again, super excited to just be part of the community.
We're very, very proud to have you, RoseJade. Honestly, it's nice to get a different perspective from somebody who has such a busy life, has so many responsibilities. You make it sound like it's possible because you're literally living and breathing it. And for somebody like me who only has 32 plants and is still struggling, it's very, very motivating. So thank you for coming up here and sharing a part of yourself with us. I'm a big fan of yours. If anybody else has anything else to say, we've reached the 1 hour mark. I know Rose is everywhere all at once, but I don't want to keep her here for too long, and Jack as well. Anybody else? Final words?
Thank you, Rose. You're amazing. I always appreciate seeing you in the spaces, at whatever places, at all these fun times, and just all of it. Like on the timeline, the vibe, the energy, the whole thing, Rose. I appreciate you. I appreciate the expertise in marketing that you bring, even if you're not willing to say expertise. I think you understand it at a level that not a lot of people do, and you understand Web3 from the art first perspective. And when you blend those 2 things along with your watercolor and you being an artist in and of your own, like, you are a force to be reckoned with, Rose. And even if, like, I can't wait to see where you go in the next 10, 20 years, because I already know that the foundation here is rock solid. And as this space evolves, I know you will be evolving faster and leading it into the future.
Thank you, Jack, for the vote of confidence. I feel like when people see that, like, I believe it. And I actually have this tendency to say things out loud in spaces where Jack is present, and all of a sudden it comes true. So I'm not sure what it is, but I might just have to bring you to a lot of different spaces, Jack, so that all my dreams and aspirations can come true. I will share that I have grand plans to do another one of one collection. I do a timed edition every 13th of the month. ETH gas prices are crazy right now, so I might mint it and no one buy it, and that's okay. It's for me to be accountable for this collection that I'm calling 13th, where it's just a timed edition that I'm doing. But I'm actually working in parallel to do my next one of one collection, and I'm actually going to try to apply to super rare, because I'm so proud of my work, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to apply, because the worst thing they can do is say no or not yet. But I'm excited to put that application forward. And yeah, I just want to be able to have the more moments to create art, but I think also just to have that balance of being able to create everyone else's creations. So I'll be in your tweets, replying, giving folks flowers. Again, just so proud to be part of the community. Thank you for the chance to be on the space here.
Whilst you're here, RoseJade, and Jack is still here, can you please say Fairy Liquid is going to be a billionaire via the frog coin without actually making a move? Please.
Fairy Liquid's gonna be a billionaire via the frog coin without making any moves.
Let's fucking go!
That's right. That's right. We are your witness. It's gonna happen. Oh. You're gonna get some Pepe into your wallet soon.
Let's go, baby. Okay, guys, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for giving us your time. Everybody who came in and listened. I forgot to say this. I really wanted to say it because it was just so weird. But I have a list of creators that I want to reach out to bring onto these spaces. And, you know, I'm trying to prioritize, but then one night I just had RoseJade's voice in my head. I don't know why. And it was just so hauntingly beautiful. She's got such a warm, I don't know, just her voice is it's just so comforting. And I was like, and we need that up there. It's been quite male dominated as well, these spaces. So thank you so much for coming up and breaking that up for us. Yeah, that's it. I don't have a music artist, unfortunately, to leave you guys with. If you guys know anyone that makes music, let me know so we can use their songs on these spaces. All right. Jack, you got something for me?
I know a couple music artists, but I didn't know if it was appropriate to just start going or if I should DM. I think I'll DM.
Yes, please. Please DM me. My DM's are open. All right. Okay. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
So if we just start talking.
Talk away.
But actually, guys, if we start talking, do you think she'll actually rug it? Or should we be able to just keep it going? Because we could probably keep this going if Fairy lets us keep it going. But I'm not sure how long she can actually play this music for. But I'm going to try my very best to keep it going to see how long we can do this so that we can put the effort and the energy forward for Rose. Because, like, you